Marilyn Monroe. Just the mention of her name conjures images of timeless beauty, charisma, and heartache. To the world, she was the epitome of allure, the golden-haired goddess who could melt hearts with a glance and a whisper. But beneath the glimmering surface, behind that flirtatious smile that seemed to light up the world, was a woman burdened with loneliness, vulnerability, and secrets she could never escape. Marilyn's story isn't just one of glamour, it's a haunting tale of ambition, betrayal, and a tragic destiny that still captivates the world. Decades after her passing, her life began far away from the dazzling lights of Hollywood. Born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926, she came into a world filled with instability. Her father vanished before she could ever remember him, and her mother's severe mental illness meant that she spent much of her childhood bouncing between foster homes and orphanages. Little Norma Jean grew up with a deep sense of abandonment, forever yearning for the affection and security that always seemed just out of reach. Yet, even amid that uncertainty, there was one constant source of comfort: the movies. Sitting in dark theaters, she was transported into a world of beauty and hope. She watched glamorous stars on screen and promised herself that one day, she too would rise above her circumstances. She would be someone special, someone unforgettable. At 16, to escape being sent back to an orphanage, Norma Jean married James Dougherty, a kind but ordinary factory worker. It was a practical decision more than a romantic one, a way to survive. But when James went off to war, Norma Jean began working in a munitions factory, unaware that fate was about to change her life. A military photographer spotted her one day and suggested she model. Before long, her photographs appeared in magazines, and the shy, insecure girl from foster care began transforming into a confident, radiant young woman. Modeling was just the first step. Determined to reinvent herself, she dyed her hair platinum blonde, adopted a new name, Marilyn Monroe, created a persona that blended innocence with irresistible charm. Hollywood noticed. Bit parts in films turned into major roles, and soon Marilyn became the face of an era. With films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and How to Marry a Millionaire, she became a sensation. Audiences couldn't look away. Her laugh, her walk, her magnetism, everything about her was electric. But behind that glamorous image was a woman fighting for validation. Marilyn craved respect as much as admiration. She studied acting passionately, yearning to be seen as more than a sex symbol. Yet the same studios that built her fame often reduced her to little more than a fantasy. Producers dismissed her as a pretty face, ignoring her depth, intelligence, and desperate need to be taken seriously. Her love life was equally stormy. In 1954, she married baseball legend Joe DiMaggio, but their marriage was consumed by jealousy and clashing expectations. Joe adored her but wanted her to quit Hollywood and be his devoted wife. Marilyn, however, couldn't give up her dreams. Within 9 months, their marriage ended in heartbreak. Her next husband, playwright Arthur Miller, offered her the intellectual companionship she longed for, but even that love couldn't survive her emotional turmoil. Their relationship crumbled under the pressures of fame and her worsening dependency on pills and alcohol. Still, Marilyn continued to prove herself as an actress. In Bus Stop and Some Like It Hot, she displayed humor, vulnerability, and undeniable talent. Critics, who once dismissed her, began to see her brilliance. Yet, fame came at a devastating cost. The anxiety, sleepless nights, and relentless pressure drove her deeper into dependency on prescription drugs. Every morning required pills to wake her up. Every night, more pills to help her sleep. Her body and spirit were slowly breaking down under the weight of fame's golden chains. Rumors of affairs and betrayals followed her everywhere. And then came whispers of something even more dangerous: relationships with some of the most powerful men in America, including President John F. Kennedy and his brother, Robert. Those alleged connections blurred the lines between politics and Hollywood, drawing Marilyn into a web of secrecy and danger she could never fully escape. She was no longer just a movie star, she had become a woman, holding secrets that could shake the powerful. Then, in August of 1962, the world was stunned. Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her Los Angeles home at just 36 years old. The official cause, acute barbiturate poisoning, was labeled a probable suicide. But from the very beginning, doubts surrounded her death. Neighbors reported strange visitors that night. Phone logs disappeared. Witness statements conflicted. Some believed it was an accident. Others whispered of foul play, that Marilyn had known too much, that her death wasn't a coincidence but a silencing. Whatever the truth, her death marked the end of an era. The world didn't just lose a movie star, lost a woman who had spent her life seeking love and acceptance in a world that only saw her as a fantasy. Beneath the sparkle of fame, Marilyn had always been Norma Jean, a girl searching for kindness, belonging, and peace. In a final, bittersweet act of love, Joe DiMaggio, the man she once married and lost, took responsibility for her funeral. He banned the Hollywood elite, blaming them for her demise. For 20 years after her death, he sent red roses to her grave 3 times a week, a gesture of devotion that spoke of both regret and enduring love. Today, Marilyn's face remains one of the most recognizable in the world. Her image adorns walls, magazines, and memories, a symbol of beauty and tragedy frozen in time. But behind that perfect smile was a story far more human, a story of resilience, pain, and the high price of fame. Marilyn Monroe will forever stand as a legend, not only for her beauty but for her strength in a world that tried to define her. She embodied both the dream and the heartbreak of Hollywood. And if you look past the glossy photos and movie posters, you'll see her truth, a fragile soul who gave everything to be seen, and in doing so, became immortal. Thanks for watching. If Marilyn's story touched you and you'd like to hear more untold tales from the golden age of Hollywood, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories just like this one.